Okay, you are ready to go.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. It's January 26th, and this is the monthly board meeting for the Mountain Arts Community Center board. Starting out the year 2021. My name is Ryan Walker. I'm the chair of the board, and we are, as we've been doing for almost a year now, we're doing a virtual meeting live stream due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Ordinarily, our meetings would be held in person every month. We're going to start with a roll call to document everybody in attendance. Starting with our board members, Angie Landrum. Make sure your microphones are on. Angie Landrum, are you here?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Rob Inman.
Here.
Seth Graham.
Here.
Ellis Gardner.
Here.
Susan Robinson.
Present.
Thank you. And Margaret Sullivan. Do I have your name right?
It's Mary Margaret, but yes.
Mary Margaret.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Who's this Randall guy?
I recently got married. I'm just changed my last name. Very recent.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so Sullivan is your current name, last name. Okay. Well, welcome. I will also mention other participants joining us on our live stream. Let me actually see who. As always, we have Boyd Veal sitting in with us, our Signal Mountain Town manager. And I always like to acknowledge Sam Guin for setting these meetings up for us. Okay, so we'll start out. I would like to start by welcoming Mary Margaret. So, being the beginning of the year, our rotation of board members starts off with the new year, and so technically our new members are Mary Margaret Sullivan and Ellis Gardner. Ellis is rolling over to a new term, a new 3-year term with us. I still, after almost a year, have not adapted to these virtual meetings. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Mary Margaret, since we have not met you? I have not met you. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I go by Mary Margaret, and I'm new to Signal Mountain as of like 5-6 months. Moved from Nashville. I had a nonprofit organization that ran arts for middle and high school youth, specifically storytelling and podcasting. It was a lot of fun, and as soon as I moved somewhere, I really wanted to plug in to the community and to the art specifically. I work at Chattanooga Girls Leadership Academy in Highland Park. I'm the community engagement coordinator, so I'm in Signal most of the time, but when I'm not there, I'm here. And that's where I am right now.
Okay. Great, awesome. That's superb. Welcome to the mountain. Do we have? I'm going to jump right into. The meeting since we have important stuff to do, like electing officers this meeting. I will tell everybody that Susanna Murdoch, our town liaison, she will probably be leaving us early. We're always glad to have her here when she can be here. I'm going to start off just for business. I'm going to start off with the minutes from our last meeting. Our last meeting was on December 8th, 2020. Is there anything to note or modify on the December 8th minutes? Okay, well, I saw just a misspelling. So I'd like to move to accept the December 8th minutes with the amendment of changing the word roll to the word roll, R-O-L-L, to R-O-L-E. That was we had a discussion about just the role of our board function. So R-O-L-E. So other than a grammar change, I would make a move to accept the minutes.
A second.
All right. Second from Ellis Gardner. And I'll do a quick roll call for everyone who approves the motion. Angie Landrum,
Yes.
Rob Inman,
Yes.
Seth Graham,
Yes.
Ellis Gardner,
Yes.
Susan Robinson,
Yes.
Mary Margaret,
Yes.
forgot to say your last name. And of course, I approve as well. So unanimous approval. So as far as the SME, moving on to the next thing, as far as the SME Preservation Fund, who is in charge of operation at the MACC right now. Usually Dick Graham joins us.
Not today.
He's not here today. So Angie, you're still on the board, right? Would you like to tell us anything notable about what's been happening in the last quiet month?
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask, you also had on the agenda something about the strategic plan, the MACC board strategic plan. Are you planning on going over that?
I thought I would just, I thought we would just briefly discuss that as a good start to the year.
Okay, because I was thinking my updates could come along as we go through that.
Okay.
Because
Oh,
it's,
that's interesting.
yeah, that would work together.
Okay. Did you just want to roll over to the, that's really our next item. So we guess we could just roll straight into that if you'd like to do that.
Okay, that'll work.
Because yeah, the next item on our agenda is really just conversation about what we're going to do in the year moving forward. Our board, we've been sort of suffering from continuity issues, as there always seems to be something that has our operations partly shut down. Right now, the obvious thing is trying to operate an art center with the pandemic going on makes it difficult to do all the regular programming that we like to offer. So in the past, before this happened, our challenges have always been having some portion of the building shut down for repairs or improvements. So we finally have a building that's in increasingly usable shape. Looks good. And now we're just waiting to be able to offer programming. This is a great time to be able to discuss how we move forward once we have the green light to do that. So yeah, number 3 on our agenda is just the discussion of objectives for our board, so we kind of know what we're going to do for the next year. So part of that is, especially since we have a new member, And it's always good to refresh for all of us who have been on the board. It's good to have a refresher as to what we do and what we need to do better. I don't know how often we update our strategic plan. It's probably supposed to be every 5 years. Our last strategic plan process happened in 2000. Well, I'm sorry, I'm actually probably contradicting myself. Our last, what did we do in 2009? 2019, that was our strategic plan, right?
Right.
I may have printed off the, I picked up my copy of the 2014, so that's not very useful. Well, how about I'm going to let you take the lead on discussing the strategic plan.
Okay.
And you've actually got the proper document in front of you.
I do. Does everyone else have it?
I do.
Yeah, okay, good. I think the mission of the MACC remains the same: to provide and facilitate artistic, cultural, civic, and educational activities that foster personal growth and benefit the community. That has kind of carried over from year to year. So we don't have to go over the background, I don't think. The vision on page 2, the vision, it talked about obstacles in the past. Our desire is to overcome these obstacles, renovate our beloved historical Signal Mountain Grammar School, and get to a point where we can fully concentrate on the values stated in our mission. This is where I think SME Preservation Fund comes in. You know, we've stepped in and have made that our goal to renovate and maintain and improve the building so that the programs can continue. Let's see, we also hope the MACC will become a source of pride for the residents of Signal Mountain. Okay, and then the 5-year strategic goals. As she noted in the paragraph leading into that, a lot of the things have been moved over from the 2012 plan and then the 2014 plan and then now the 2019 plan. So many things that didn't get accomplished have just been moved over and moved over. But now we're finally at a place where a lot of these things have happened. And so that's really exciting. And number 1, the first thing on the list, create a facilities plan and improve the physical building and grounds. We must take a proactive approach to building maintenance instead of reactive approach. And I think that is just spot on. You know, that's what we have to, even after we get everything, you know, fixed right now, it's something that needs to continue into the future, that we plan ahead and make sure that building maintenance is kept up, and so that we're not surprised by sudden catastrophes or whatever. We just need to stay proactive and keep things moving. So A was a facilities committee to establish and write facilities plan detailing maintenance, improvements, and additions. And that we had talked about, I think I noticed in minutes from a while back that Rob and Ryan and Ellis, you guys were doing some stuff around the MACC, and that you guys would basically be good for being the facilities committee. B is there will be a climate control system where window air conditioners and radiators are no longer needed throughout the building. That is very close to done. Yeah, the boiler system is completely disconnected. Radiators are being removed as we renovate each room by room. We're keeping some in some areas just for their historical, you know, character that they add to the room, but a lot of them are being taken out so we can repair the floor, replace the floor, and all that good stuff. But I think almost every room is done. What's happening next, hopefully in March, is room 8 and the women's room. That'll be on one system. And then the only remaining ones are rooms 4 and 5, which will be on one system. And that's it. The cafeteria will have to keep in mind, this is one of the ongoing things, the cafeteria has had a system for a while, but it's old. So it'll be next on the list, I'm sure, need to be replaced. But for now, within the next month or so, the whole building all the classrooms anyway, will have heat and air. We are still waiting on numbers for the theater. We have the money set aside. We're waiting on an estimate, and even once we all agree on exactly what we want, it may still take a little while because equipment is back ordered. I just put 2 new systems in our house that we're renovating, and we got lucky with it because our heat completely went out. So we only had one night of freezing cold and had to use electric heaters. But it's been a problem for everybody in the industry that there's just not enough equipment. So I'm hopeful that we can get one soon for the theater. But
it's Susan. Quick question. So under A, have we accomplished that objective, or do we have a facilities committee? You kind of alluded to maybe 3 people had kind of looked at it, and do we have a facilities plan written?
That needs to, that fell off the rails, essentially with things changing. It seemed like we needed to wait to see how management of kind of the new management of MACC was going to sort of settle into the role. So that's kind of on hold. But now that things are going again, that needs to be re-established so that a formal plan can take place. That definitely involves the SMEPF. So yeah, that's definitely one thing that I had written down that I would like to, I'd like to see that get started again this year.
Okay, perfect. I think it's a good idea. It's just if we're going to update our strategic plan, if it needs to stay in there, then we need to star it. So
yeah, I think that's just a good way of guiding. As we've been focused on making a lot of repairs and getting things functional. But when you start moving forward to utilizing your facility better, and especially considering our art center sits on, what is it, like 5 acres? We've got this large community space, and so as we continue to make better use of this community asset, it's good to have a plan in place so that your projects just kind of snap into the plan. So
that would be wonderful. Okay, let's see. C is outdoor spaces will be improved, having grounds open for play and recreation while promoting art, including playground, trails, woods, etc. Several of those things have happened. We have a new trail. If you guys haven't walked around over there lately, Maxwell, the Eagle Scout, put in a new trail up the hill behind the kitchen. And he added a bench and a balance beam. And I think he's going, I didn't see it. I walked up there the other day. I saw those 2 things, and they're really nice. They're very nice. And I think he's going to put in a pull-up bar somewhere because he asked if we wanted that in concrete. And I said, yes, that would be good. So anyway, I think he's pretty much done, but it looks really good. It has signs that I know his mom designed, and they're wood post, wood sign, but they have metal cut out in red that says MACC Trail and has arrows, and it's just really nicely done. It looks really good.
Yeah, very pro.
Yeah, very impressed with him. So trails, that's done. What was the other thing? Playground. We have a swing set that's delivered, but it's not installed yet. It's lying on the lawn, waiting to dig some holes and put that in. So that'll look cool.
Where did the swing set come from?
Graham's donated it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So it will go down in the front lawn, on the Kentucky Avenue side, kind of down in the corner. What else? Courtyard, we're talking to the garden club about helping with the courtyard, just to add flower beds and whatever. They put in the pollinator garden. That's a big deal. And right now, it doesn't look like much. It's dirt with lots of plants, but there are plants there. So hopefully this spring, when they all turn green and start growing, it should look really cool.
Yep.
So that's exciting. And we have saved the space in the middle of that for a stage or pavilion. So our plan is a pavilion is what we're planning. So we can have a space for outdoor classrooms and outdoor concerts or plays or whatever. So that's in the works. Let's see, courtyard. Okay, so that's C. That's what's been happening outside. D, better utilization of the kitchen, so a wider variety of usage, including events and rentals. We have cleaned out the kitchen. That's been a few months. That's kind of been put on hold since nothing's happening there. We've been working on other rooms, but we got rid of the old cabinets, and as soon as we did, the space smelled so much better because they were holding so much
Oh my God.
smell. So that helped immensely. And we've just decluttered and cleared out all the equipment that wasn't being used. So, and we've painted, and we took down some drop tiles and put in some new lights over the sinks. And so it's a work in progress, but it already looks better. Let's see. All right. Okay, and the next section, number 2, grow to the full and complete usage of the entire building. That's already happened.
Is that going on now?
I mean, we're not open now, but as far as, it was half of it was closed for the sprinkler system and all that, all that's changed. Everything is sprinkled. It's all open whenever we reopen. Every room can be used.
Right. I think the intention with that item was just to see the building being used more and more often. We had fairly narrow a narrowed time frame in which the facility was just being used, and so I think our intention in that was to see the full facility being used as much as possible, because we have it. Let's offer as much as we can.
Yeah.
Keep
Well,
it
at the time we wrote this plan, it was still part of it was still closed, I think, because it says assuming the renovation and completion of the MACC building where it's up to code and granted a certificate of occupancy. So that was before it was reopened.
right.
The goal is to reestablish the use of every part and the grounds to maximum usage. Yeah. And then you talked about regular use of the theater. Yeah. And constant schedule of music performances and recitals and plays and rehearsals. And yeah, we would like to do movie nights eventually. We're going to need a larger screen for that. So that's on the list of things to get. Be a full and regular schedule, regular classes, and even opening on Saturdays. So we hope to do that. Increase in the diversity of talent in instruction will result in a wider variety of class offerings. We've gotten lucky lately. We've had some new people move to town who happen to be artists. So we have, 2 new artists just in the last couple of months waiting for us to reopen. Plus our teacher artist, Betsy McLean from the middle school, is taught 1 session there and wants to come back. So we've got 3 new artists basically. So whenever we open up again. So that's happening. Use of the building for private events will result in additional rental income. One thing we did, after we closed was we were able to still use the theater on a limited basis for doing live video recordings. So we recorded, not live, we recorded, all summer, the Nightfall series that was done. And then we did several symphony quartets. I think 3 of those were recorded, and then the play. What was the play that happened out at McCoy Farm? Did the soundtrack for that. Anyway, so and the investment in cameras and equipment and stuff for the theater was we were able to use even after being closed for the
Angie,
all those things.
Ella
Yeah.
Sargent, are we still doing anything with the Mountain Opry? What happened to them?
They did a show in September, and they just did the one and then decided after that to wait until spring because they had several family members come down
Right.
with COVID. So that scared them, I think. And
Long term, they plan to come back to us.
last
or-
I've heard, yeah,
Okay.
they're wanting to do once a month on Saturday nights, I think.
Super. Not Friday nights. Friday night was their traditional night, but
It
maybe
was,
smart to change.
they said it was really hard to get musicians because most musicians have regular day jobs, and to get up here in time,
Right.
you know, they weren't able to start until 8, which was kind of a late start. So they thought they moved to Saturday at 7 so they could be earlier and get more musicians.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. Yeah, so that'll be great when we get them back. They'll fill the space. Number 3, become established as the gathering point for all arts. The MACC will be recognized as a community for artists where they can come and grow and learn and all that. Okay. The MACC will continue to provide classes for students, young and old. The MACC will seek to nurture amateur artists. We'll have regular gallery showings, regular concert series and theater performances, camps, programs, outdoor space and gardens created for the purpose of play, movement, inspiration, and events. All that's on track for when we reopen, all that stuff will happen, you know. So that's just a continuation of what was already being done and even more, you know, just try to do it more. The last one, lounge waiting area will be created that encourage connections and inspire. We made room 7 into a waiting room. We're also thinking the courtyard will also be a great gathering place. And now that the one thing that was cool, Ellis, about when the Mountain Opry was there, we opened the windows at the back of the theater. So you could be out in the courtyard listening to what was happening inside. That was really, really cool. So that'll be a neat thing to be able to do when we've got nice weather, you know, it can be an indoor outdoor event. Let's see, number 4, become a destination for locals and tourists seeking historical, cultural, and artistic awareness. The MACC is the oldest building in town, should be recognized for its historical significance. So how do you do that? The MACC will be established as a destination for tourists to the region, starting with the Tennessee Visitors Bureau. A Signal Mountain Visitor Center will be created. We are planning that for room 3. Dick and Cheryl just today went to a carpet store. They were very brave. They've hardly gone anywhere. So they went out and looked at carpet because they're having a hard time doing that online without seeing it in person. So room 3 is getting carpet and it'll be pretty much done. It still needs a second coat of paint on some trim and stuff, but its purpose is going to be a visitor center / gift shop. So it's a place for our artists to sell their paintings and whatever, and a place for us to sell t-shirts, mugs, whatever, fundraiser type stuff. And it can also be used as a classroom, you know, occasionally for if we need the space. So, and see, we had on here, here's something that might need to change, a rotating exhibit of historical items from the History House. I went to the history committee board, whatever I'm not sure what they're called exactly, a couple times. And most of their stuff is paper, you know, it's newspaper articles and things people have written. It's not really things to look at. So I'm not sure that this is really a thing that's actually doable. But But if you guys want to check around and see, see if
Well,
there's a
I
way
think,
to do
I think one way to perhaps get around that is to, which makes sense, is to use the building as sort of a living history museum, and at least perhaps have more informational displays that are perhaps more permanent within the building, just so that people have a better sense for the significance of the facility in the community. And you know, if we're going to have a visitor center, which really kind of makes sense, Sigma Mountain gets a lot of visitors, and we don't really have any formal presence for them. I mean, they usually go to the trails and hike and things like that, and we don't really get a chance to talk to our visitors to the mountain. And so if we get a way of seeing more visitors at our facility, we can, for one thing, it's an opportunity to show off the facility. We'll have a lot to offer as far as events and classes, and that's a great way to present other historical information that just shows off.
I can't remember this. Do we have one of those brown signs at the top of the mountain that you get from the Park Service that says Mountain Arts Community Center?
We do. It's just before the light.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Maybe some, I don't know if there were signage or something that was more prominent that would direct people there.
We talked about one idea that the trailhead for Rainbow Lake has a big sign, you know, at the map. I think it would be cool to have, and I don't know right now if that's a paper map behind glass, maybe. Do you guys know? I think it might be.
I think it might be.
Yeah, and I don't know if we could redo that so that there are advertisers around the edge, or, you know, you have a way to sponsor it so that you send people to the MACC from the trail and vice versa. And any other places like that. Did you guys see the article about the new trail that's being built on the side of the mountain, the ridge, or Walden, I can't remember what it's called. But that's another future place, you know, it's going to have trailheads top and bottom where we can hopefully direct people to them.
Yeah, we do have a lot of trails, so, and just other amenities really. So it would definitely be nice to get people to come stop here. MACC is a real easy stop when you get to the top of the mountain, and give people options.
Coordinate with all those folks, and we can have trail maps and drinks and snacks and that sort of stuff. Also, let's see, what was my other thought? The other thing about historical stuff and documents, Wilhite Hall already has the display cases on the walls. There's one on either side. They're lit. So just rotating stuff out of there or updating those would be a perfect place for that, for the history articles and stuff. So that really already exists if we use it for that purpose. Okay, let's see. Okay, number 5, increase awareness and patronage of the MACC, making it a household name. Stronger publicity involving the town council, promoting classes and camps, using the building for school-related stuff, after-school stuff, club meetings, scout meetings, continuing with Christmas celebrations, the tree lighting, the Signal Mountain Playhouse. Anyway, all those things, I think all of that is something that a marketing person does. So going forward, no matter who's running the MACC, I mean, this has always been a need at the MACC, is to have someone who's good at marketing, you know, who's good at the social media stuff and keeping articles in the paper and just regular. So there's stuff out there all the time. So that's really, all of that would be one person's job for the most part. And then everybody else, board members and other staff and everybody, you know, is just as ambassadors to talk it up whenever you can, wherever you are, but to have somebody whose job it is to do that specifically would just make a huge difference. I mean, that's what's
When
really.
you all, when the town hires somebody to run the
Mhm.
MAC again, maybe you could establish like a little marketing subcommittee of the board that could, sort of the way the facilities committee functions, like, a couple of people who are interested in that on the board could sort of work with the director
Mhm.
to help, help that person execute plans and such.
Yeah.
Boyd, is there any movement towards a director?
Are you asking Boyd?
I was asking Boyd. Yeah.
Yeah, not at this time. My understanding of the idea of entering the year agreement with SMEPF was to see how that went, and then the town and SMEPF would evaluate the desire to continue that on a longer term basis. Of course, when we entered into that, there was no pandemic, and we were anticipating being able to get a clear picture of how things would work. I certainly don't know that we've done that. We've certainly seen what they can accomplish, and they haven't been able to work in a normal environment to boot. So I think that was the idea, was to try that for a year and see if it might be something we would want to pursue on a longer term basis. So we'll really have to see as that year end approaches, which will be, probably the next 2 or 3 months, start talking about what we might want to do.
And end of June, I think, was when their contract was up.
That's right.
Okay.
And this is Susan, kind of my thoughts on this. As toward the end of your report on number 5, you felt like all of this would be the basically job description of a marketing professional. So perhaps added to this section would be to hire a marketing professional to assist the board in accomplishing these goals and objectives. So something to think about. So it may need to be inserted.
Oh, I totally agree.
So just so it's point of conscious when we're reading the strategic plan and reviewing the strategic plan, which we should probably be doing more than just once a year. It's there and we know what we're working toward. So.
Right. Yeah, and down at number 6, develop strong support staff and volunteers to help the MAC grow as an organization. It mentioned staff that is trained to schedule, plan, publicize, and market programs and events. And you notice down in B, well, no, A, staff should be trained to be proficient in marketing, event planning, and talent. Well, this was written back when we had staff. So moving forward, we'll be hiring new staff. So I think you start from there. You hire people who are already qualified, to do marketing for you. So, yeah.
I would clarify, like, moving forward, obviously, you've got downtime right now. There's not nearly the money coming in, and there's not nearly the demand for staff that there would ordinarily be right now. So going forward, whoever operates the MAC, whether it be, whether it's the town decides to do full operation again, or if the SMEPF continues and decides to operate again, whoever is operating it I'm assuming that hiring staff would be up to them. Like if SMEPF were to decide to continue this this contract again for another year, you would be providing the staff, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So would Boyd and the town council have to approve hires, or would that be totally your call. When you start hiring, when we start hiring staff, or y'all start hiring staff, does the town have to approve that sort of thing?
If the SMEPF is operating it, then that would be up to them.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, they would be employees of the Preservation Fund, not the town.
Mhm.
If the town's running it, council has to approve the funding, and then I'm responsible for the hiring.
All right. I do want to interject since I happen to have my microphone off right now. And it fits in right here. I wanted to bring it up somewhere along the way. You may know this, at 4 o'clock, Hamilton County School Board Director, Dr. Brian Johnson, is going to make some announcement about the rest of the school year. In either case, I expect it's going to be, we're going to be opened up school-wise next summer, fall. And possibly part of what's going on, if you don't have school-age children, you may not know, there's a lot of concern about anxiety and lack of learning. And a lot of the, I guess, administrators across the nation are looking at this, not just politicians, governments, but also school administrators and parents are looking at our children, number one, aren't learning, but they're also getting, a lot more mental illness. So having school for the kids presumably aren't as affected by COVID as the rest of us or our generation. My guess is we're going to have school going on, and we as the MACC can have programs if we choose to next fall. I don't know what's going to happen between now and then, probably not a whole lot until vaccines start trickling in.
Yeah.
Maybe the silver sneakers will be the first thing we open up. I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to try to tune in at 4 o'clock, find out what he says.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Thank you, Alice.
Yeah, we've been just going month by month as to, when we'll reopen. We just say, well, no, numbers are still bad. We'll wait another month. Last time we talked about it, we skipped a couple months and said, well, no sooner than April 1. So we're still just doing it,
I guess the short version of what I'm saying is, I think we as the board and you as the Preservation Fund should be planning on next fall and aiming for that. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but at least we should be ready for it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And have the contingency plan, but I really think that we're going to have to stay up on the news. It's not looking very promising as of January 26th, but it can't hurt to plan. We should definitely plan, and those plans can always be, changed, or pushed back. So, but we can say we're thinking about this, and it's about the health of the community, and it's about, our facilities and getting people in and the arts out. So,
Yeah.
That's true. We were certainly planning on diving into a strong summer program right before the pandemic hit us. So that was in the works, and that's a good example of how it's good to, if your plans fall through, at least you've gone through the process of setting that up, and you just bump it back.
Yeah. We're wondering if we could do a summer camp this summer. Maybe in July. Is it possible things will be better by July? It's hard to know, but that would be a fun way to reopen,
You'd probably have a lot of interest in that too up here. I mean, assuming that, hoping that things are better, but.
Yeah, I think it would fill up immediately. I don't think that would be a problem. It's just, it is hard to plan without a date, and it is it's disappointing to put a lot of work into something and then have to cancel it at the last minute. So,
well, maybe if we see that a lot of vaccine is being, we're starting to see more and more vaccine become more readily available, and we can really entertain that in a realistic kind of way.
Yeah, I hope so. It'll be fun.
What's your deadline for, when it comes to planning ahead for, let's say, summer camps? That needs to be in place. That plan needs to be in place by what month?
Probably May. So you have at least a couple months or 3 months to advertise, get the word out. You've got to book teachers. That's the hardest part of the
Yeah.
whole thing is coordinating everybody's schedules. So making sure you have teachers. So,
Right.
yeah. And it'll just depend on what the schools are doing and everything. So anyway, we can talk about that again in a couple months, see how things are going. Okay, let's see, back to this. Okay, very important to hire qualified people, no matter who's doing the hiring, that's important. Let's see. This had a volunteer coordinator with volunteer committees should be established, particularly to help with events. I'm thinking a staff person could be the coordinator for volunteers, as part of a staff job.
That would be ideal.
So, I mean, it's my opinion.
That's a big job for a volunteer.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been being a volunteer coordinator for 3 years, so it is a job, but it's something that if you have, like, we have evenings, the MACC, when it's normally open, is open like 12 hours a day. So your evening person is not usually I wouldn't have to be a regular office person. They're normally just there making sure kids get to their class, seeing if teachers need anything, locking up when it's over, and all that sort of thing. So that person, in my mind, could be your volunteer coordinator because they have more downtime. So they could and that's when you can reach people the easiest normally is in the evenings. So part of their job could be, calling volunteers that night for whatever the next work bee is or whatever. So that's why I'm thinking it could be worked into a staff position. So reaching out to Alexian people, partnershiping with the schools. We actually, you guys probably all know Gordon Inman. He's on our SME board. He's helping us with reaching out to the schools. I guess schools are open now, right? Or they're not open now?
It's a mixed bag. Yeah.
I never know. But he's going to be talking to the art teachers and music teachers about trying to find ways to coordinate some stuff and get some things happening after school over here. So he's great at that. A volunteer IT professional. Well, Dick has been our volunteer IT professional for the last several months. He's and his son Jordan, they made a new website. We've got ability to pay for classes online. Scheduling is all got software for scheduling teachers and classes. Teachers can go online and see their students and all that. It's all been done. So that's done. And that's it. So I think there are a lot of changes to be made to this if we decide to update it, but a lot of it has been knocked out by volunteers in the last year or so.
Angie, I got a quick question on what you just spoke about. The software or the website.
Mm-hmm.
I have a vague memory of the staff talking about purchasing some software program. Has that now been homegrown? We've done it ourselves, or Dick has done it for us. There was some sort of registration program that would coordinate. It was probably more than we would use, but it was good enough for what we were going to do. Is that?
Yeah, it's done.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah, you can register online, pay online. Yeah, all done. So yeah, that was working really well when we were open.
I think we should, as the MACC board, we should make some gesture to Dick for his effort and contribution. If nothing, if more than a proclamation, maybe a bouquet of flowers or something.
I'm sure
chocolate.
I'm sure he'd love it. That'd be great.
Just recognition.
I was thinking something like that too. I don't know what it could be, but we need to find some way to thank. These are thousands of hours you're talking about here that Angie and the SMEPF, Cheryl and Dick together along with Dan and Angie, and other volunteers, but really the four of you. I mean, there's just no way to thank you enough, but we need to try to come up with a way to do that.
Well, thanks. We have a donate button on the website. That would be thanks enough. Yeah, we put in over 4,000 hours this year, which is more than double the previous 2 years, which I thought we were doing well at 2,000, but over 4,000. And a lot of that was Dick and Cheryl working in the office. You know, we had one semester where we were open for classes, so that was a lot of hours. And so but it's fun, you know, we all enjoy it, and I'm really ready to be done with my house. And so I can go back over there and painting the MACC will be easy compared to, you know, what's been happening here. So I'm looking forward to it. Any other questions for me that I can help with?
Does that cover all of your, I guess that probably covers all of your updates.
Yeah. Oh, I do have, I have one other thing for you guys to think about, because, you know, we haven't really had a discussion yet about, well, Ellis brought it up a little bit with, you know, who would hire or whatever. Moving forward, if SME Preservation Fund continues to manage, if it's no longer a town department, one idea, we would love for you guys to stay involved. If it becomes just one board instead of two, you know, we haven't had this discussion. So this is, I'm just putting this out there. We would like to invite you all to join the SME Preservation Fund board. If it morphs into that, that would be wonderful. The only two of you who could not is Seth and Gordon, because it is frowned upon by nonprofit legal
You
folks
mean me,
to
I
have
think.
relatives on a board.
I think you mean me.
I'm
not-
sorry, Ron
Yeah.
and Seth.
No, we're kicking Gordon out.
We love Gordon, so we're gonna keep Gordon.
You're speaking about anti-nepotism.
Yeah, yeah. But you're, of course, can always still volunteer anytime. We love to have you. But that's something to think about, you guys. You know, we would love to have you move over if it moves in that direction. So keep that in your brain.
In the current setup, our role, this board, you know, is an advisory board to the town council, because the MACC is it's a town-owned facility. So the town owns the property, the building, and you know, and the reason the town owns it is because, for one thing, it's a notable historic structure, one of the few that we have in our community, and the town, you know, the town wants us to be able to have community programming and arts and cultural programming. It's so the reason that we have this town board is just to represent the community. I'm not very good at my elevator speech. Never done this well. But it's an accountability thing for now. In the past, you know, it's been a little bit easier to define our roles, because you had town employees running the MACC, and then you had the advisory board helping provide feedback. But the SMEPF does a lot. So it has been difficult to know how we can be helpful as a town board, because SMEPF is doing a lot. We're really here just to make these meetings public, and so that way everybody knows what's going on at this town facility. And you know, if SMEPF really dropped the ball, and you know, if they were mismanaging things and things were going down the hole, you know, we would be able to say, you know, hey, we have concerns. What can we do to help to make sure this is running to serve the town? Obviously, that's not been a problem, but that's kind of why we exist. It's quality control, I suppose. But it's definitely worth the discussion, like Angie said. At what point do we really just twiddle our thumbs and have no function? I don't know. But for right now, the best that we can do is to really help out. There's nothing to say that we can't help the SMEPF. We have the same goals. So we'll do it. We should do everything we can as volunteers to help the SMEPF. And for now, we'll continue to have our monthly meetings just to cover the formalities and talk about what's going on.
Ryan, if I may.
I gotta go, y'all.
Yeah.
Sorry to have to leave.
Bye.
Thank you.
It looks like seems like a good opportunity to reiterate what I said when we initially made the transition to SMEPF. Even in a theoretically temporary fashion, to see how things went, that in this instance, I think the advisory role of the MACC board is extremely important. Especially those that have been around for a while and you're familiar with prior operations, and now you see what the SMEPF has been able to do and how they functioned. Again, admittedly in a crazy scenario, yet have still performed as they have. But in a few months, as I said, we're gonna need to talk about what the next step is. Do we look at another year and hope that that's closer to normal so we can get a better feel for it? Do we go ahead and look at something more permanent? Do we consider going back to town operations? Whatever that is, you guys are going to be an important part of that discussion. And the fact that you've continued to meet and you have been connected with what SMEPF is doing is very, very much appreciated. So you're right. I'm not really sure how the evolution looks because we're not sure what's going to happen. But to me, again, the role of the MACC board as a town advisory board perhaps is more important now than ever because of the decisions that will be coming down the road about what the future looks like. But I appreciate you guys.
Well, that's helpful, Boyd. When the MACC before the agreement with SMEPF was reached, of course, SMEPF. It's always good to cover history of what we've been doing, especially as we have new members. The SMEPF initially was started to do fundraising for primarily the building for the Signal Mountain Elementary building. So initially the SMEPF made an agreement with the town to handle fundraising, and that took that role sort of off of our board. So we no longer have a treasurer on our board because we don't handle money anymore. And then the MACC ended up without a director, and so Boyd, being the town manager, and with MACC being a town facility, Boyd had the job of having to operate the MACC in addition to all the other stuff that he's in charge of in the town, which is a lot. So, so I certainly appreciate his dedication to making sure that this thing works. And that's really when SMEPF decided to step up and utilize their resources to keep the MACC running and just to try their hand at seeing what they could do. And honestly, the pandemic made that a good decision because, with programming shutting down again or being reduced, it gave them more time to focus on getting the building fixed up. So anyway, that's the history of how we got to this point. So Boyd's done a lot. Boyd's done a lot. He's a good advocate for the MACC, and we should all be grateful.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Mary Margaret, have you been to the MACC?
I live really close to the MACC. I haven't been inside it much yet.
Okay. If you want to contact me and I'll give you a tour.
That'd be great. I would love that.
I'd love to show it to you.
That'd be perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't get to do all this meeting and greeting, and we don't spend as much time in the MACC as we would like to now that we have social distancing and virtual meetings. I still have not acclimated. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and I don't know how to do this. Our next agenda item is electing officers, and I've been the I don't even know what I am. I'm the chair. I've been the chair for a year, and it's been a chaotic year, and I have not been pleased with my ability to operate as the chair of this board. So as we discuss the officer positions, there are 3 positions: chair, vice chair, and secretary. I don't want to do the chair position anymore. I just feel like somebody else could do this better. Sorry, I got a
Boy, you really meant that.
low power minute. So I'm running out of time here. It's literal and figurative, but it's been a chaotic year for me, and I feel like we do need to emphasize having people on our boards who have the knowledge and the sort of the background to be able to really be able to offer something of substance. So I will, for the rest of my life, be able to will be willing to help the MACC, and I'll always be a friend of MACC. But I'm just not a great person to be the. I'm not a good person to have the chair position. So I would love to turn that over to somebody.
Well, Ryan, this isn't really a proposal, but maybe a statement to you. I have heard what you said, and will honor it. I think you've done great. And I think it's like you haven't had a chance to do it. And if you wanted to do it next year or in a future year, you would be a great holdover or recycle.
Here. I nominate Ryan as chair.
No.
All in favor?
As the chair, I'm going to overthrow this whole. I'm gonna cause an insurrection here and not go along with this.
Once again, without being overly formal, Rob, you're the natural choice.
And I'm an unnatural choice. I'm not interested in serving as a officer. This is my last year. I have lots of plans for this year that hopefully won't hit the fan like they did last year. So
now Angie's the vice chair right now, right?
I'm sorry?
No, I'm secretary.
Secretary. Well, you would be, are you still the president of the Preservation Fund?
I am, at least for 6 months.
Okay. Well, I've said this before, and I'll say it for the new people. I've known Angie for 20 years. I trust her implicitly. I'm concerned about setting up a precedent that one same person would be on both the head of both boards. But in this case, especially for the next 6 months, you are MACC. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that would be a great thing. And I think that wo So I think the job is yours if you want it. I can't be the chairperson. I'd be happy to be the vice chair and secretary if I need to be, but I'd rather be a vice chair because there's less to be done. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, I was vice chair and forgot about it.
I remember that. Well, thank you, Ellis, but I don't think it would be appropriate for me to be chair, so I think it needs to be someone else.
I need to reinforce what Ellis has said, because I think in 6 months, we're going to be an entirely different entity than we are now. And you having that leadership, I think, makes a lot of sense. If
No one knows the building better than you, Angie.
Yeah.
Will you do it? And then we can bring Susan and Mary Margaret along.
Yeah. Boyd, do you have an opinion on that?
I would be hesitant as you are, Angie, that while for the most part, the goals of SMEPF and the MACC board are identical, there is the opportunity to see them as
Conflict of interest.
if it comes down to a decision about how MACC will be operated and who will do it. So I just think the potential for the conflict, while those things often exist, there are times you have to recognize that they are very pronounced. And I think that's where we are on this one.
No, I think this is a good time to reinforce the importance of checks and balances. And so I also agree that there need to be more players on the field when it comes to positions like this.
So who is willing?
So let me discuss.
He's not listening. I'll do it, but I don't reluctantly. I do have a day job, which is part of my challenge.
Let me read the roles here. I mean, I'm sure we've all read these, but I'll just go ahead and cover these real quickly. So the role of the chair is to set the agenda and preside over meetings, to orient new board members, to keep board members informed of significant events that transpire between meetings, act as a board liaison with the MACC director. Right now, the MACC director would basically be SMEPF. Liaison between the MACC director, the town manager, and the town council. That being said, we also do have our town council liaison. And also to represent the board as needed at meetings of the town council, to appoint committee chairs and members with consent of the board. So I guess I could just make this decision and you guys have to agree. Anyway, also to oversee all committee activities and to oversee all business pertaining to MACC. This is antiquated. Says to oversee all business pertaining to the MACC fund held by the Community Foundation. The MACC fund no longer exists. That also is a role of the SMEPF. Oversee fundraising. That's not a thing we do anymore. The chair is also responsible for providing the notice for board meetings. There's a lot that I have not done well there. The vice chair is to serve as the chair in the absence of the chair, and assist with the duties of the chair. So usually, I mean, typically the vice chair ends up not really doing much, but you know, if you're caught deer in the headlights and you have to preside over a meeting, you do really have to, have the documentation and make sure you know what's going on. And the secretary is a big job. It's probably the most work. The secretary maintains the minutes of the board meetings, transmits those minutes to the town manager as they're approved. See that the minutes are kept of all subcommittee meetings and that those minutes are properly recorded and transmitted and is also responsible for board correspondence not otherwise delegated to another person in these bylaws, or by any other policy or provisions of the town. Our bylaws also indicate a treasury hyphen treasurer, but we have eliminated that position since we don't handle any funds, any money. So, so the biggest job really is the secretary's job, and that's what Angie has held for several years now, because you have to record all this stuff, and you have to keep all this information on file. And the chair the chair position involves a lot of organizational skills, which is where I really suffer. Especially this last year, my life has been utter chaos. For no good reason, but it's that whole anxiety thing that's coming into play with students and everybody else. I just haven't been able to hang. So I've done a really bad job. It would be great to have someone who at least has some office experience and some experience in business writing and in record keeping and whatnot. I'm just not great at that. So I feel like I'm lazy saying I don't want to do it, but it's just been a stressful year, and I would like to rehab myself. And
Well, Susan, I know you are new, but would you be interested in chairing the meetings?
I really appreciate that offer. At the moment, I'm president of the Chattanooga Public Library, and I'm very active. As a matter of fact, in 15 minutes, I've got a Tennesseans for the Arts board meeting. Otherwise, let me get through some of these commitments that I have on 2 other boards, which by the end of the year, I'll be through that. Then I most certainly will step up and take a leadership role. So at that time, I mean,
okay, nope, that's a lot. That's a full plate. I think that's going to be the reality of our board, is that with the challenge of having good people on the board means that we have busy people on the board. Well,
I am happy to step in as chair-elect and be learning, and then the following year step in as chair. If that's a good succession plan, I'm happy to commit to that, if that helps at all.
Then I nominate Susan as vice chair.
Second.
okay. Let me get my list here.
So if we decided Mary Margaret's the chairperson?
Hold on.
One at a
You're
time.
next,
Okay.
Ellis.
All right, we have a second. The motion is to appoint Susan Robinson as the vice chair. So for approval, I'm going to take a roll call. Angie Landrum,
Yes.
Rob Inman,
Yes.
Seth Graham,
Yes.
Ellis Gardner,
Yes.
Susan Robinson,
Yes.
okay, and Mary Margaret Sullivan,
Yes.
and I, Ryan Walker, also say yes. So that's a unanimous approval for the motion to make Susan Robinson the vice chair. Given the situation that everybody has, I was actually prepared to quit the board to open up a position for somebody with better skills and resources. But given Boyd's opinion that's good to have some old knowledge. I've been around the MACC for a long time. I will, I'm gonna hope for a better year, a better 2021, and I guess I will be willing to.
I'd like to nominate Ryan Walker as chair.
Second.
Who was that second from?
Seth.
That was Seth.
I'll definitely second that one.
I'll try to do better.
Fine, you've done great.
You know. Okay, try to be more organized. Okay, let's go ahead and take the roll call. Angie Landrum,
Yes.
Rob Inman,
Yes.
Seth Graham,
Yes.
Ellis Gardner,
Yes.
Susan Robinson,
Yes.
Mary Margaret Sullivan.
Yes.
All right, you're new, you don't know us, so that's a gutsy decision there. Okay, so instead of shirking my responsibilities, I'm going to do this for another year. Okay, so that leaves the
Secretary.
that leaves the secretary position that Angie Landrum has done so well.
And I
It's a
am
lot of work.
more than willing for someone else to take over because I've been doing it a long time. So if
Well, Mary
anyone,
Margaret,
I've
is
been doing
that
that
something
long
that you
time.
could do?
I've just got to say, at this point, you will get no sympathy from Ryan.
I know.
If some of the others don't bail you out, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to nominate Angie Landrum for secretary.
Second.
I'll go ahead and step in it.
Oh gosh. All right.
Yeah, once you
Do you want to do it, or would you rather someone else
Shut up, Ellis.
take over? Well, you make a motion, then you discuss, then you vote.
Right, that's right. I am willing, unless there's someone else who would really like to do it. I mean, it's not that hard.
I can help. I'm new, I'm new to town, so you'll have to be aware of that. I don't have any connections yet, but maybe secretary is a good opening position for me. And I was secretary of a board a while back, so I'm pretty familiar with it. But I would need a little training.
Okay.
Secretary in training.
Yes. Yes.
No problem. All right. I nominate Mary Margaret for secretary.
so let me back up. So do I need to? I forgot what I need to do. Do I need to?
Table the motion.
We need to.
Table
Yeah.
the first
let's do-
motion.
I withdraw my nomination of Angie.
Withdraw. Okay. So, all right. So the original nomination is withdrawn. Now,
We need a
There-
second.
oh, okay.
Second,
Okay. Who was that again?
Ellis.
Ellis. Ellis came in for the second. Okay. So nomination is. Okay. So I have to take. Sorry. This is why I'm a terrible. So disorganized. I'm a terrible chair, but you guys are going to suffer with me. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take a vote for the withdrawal, I suppose. So
Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think.
I think if you make a motion to withdraw, it's not voted on yet.
okay, that was what I remember us doing in the past anyway. So okay, that makes sense. New, is there a new motion on the floor?
Angie did that.
Angie made the
With
motion, it was seconded, and I got to step away for at least 5 minutes in about 2. So I vote yes.
We need to vote.
Okay, all right. So Ellis is a yes. Angie,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Seth,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Mary Margaret.
Yes.
You better
Yes.
stay up.
Yeah, you have to vote for yourself. You don't have to, but
Ryan, may I step in, and before I have to step away, really, as a personal note to both Susan and Mary Margaret that don't know, everybody else does. My wife was diagnosed with cancer last May, Last October, she was pronounced clean of any tumors. She's done all her chemotherapy. She's been working for 3 months. I couldn't do anything this past year. I would have been willing to step in. And Ryan, sort of to you, if you feel like you just need someone to step in, you've got a vice chair, but I don't mind sitting on the back seat and helping guide things. And I'm on for another 3 years, so I'll be around. And I just wanted to let Mary Margaret and Susan know that seems like my life's gotten a little simpler.
Good.
I definitely value having you here for the past year. I know it's been difficult, but yet you've made a strong effort to be here for us always, and you always have good questions and good input. So,
well, I've got to say, my wife is so well. She's hiring contractors, one of which I have to go pay right now.
Okay. I will mention that I did not interject, but I also vote to approve that. So unanimous votes.
Great.
Congratulations, Angie.
You
You can focus on other demanding things. Thank you, Mary Margaret. It's difficult. It's been a difficult year because we really don't see each other. We come together on a virtual meeting once a month, and so yeah, it's been just sort of difficult to be helpful. We're not meeting in the MACC every month, and so yeah, we're just we lack a lot. Hopefully we'll be able to change that sometime in the future and get back to our regular meetings. It just goes a lot more fluidly when we can do that. Okay, well, since everybody's got to go and this has been a long meeting, we'll focus on I'll try to send out an email at some point in the next month, and we'll try to build up a good meeting for next time. Oh yeah, when is that going to be? I forgot to get my calendar. Everybody know when our meetings are the last Tuesday.
February 23rd.
It's gonna be the Tuesday, the 23rd of February.
That's right.
So in cases where you have a long month, it's not the fourth Tuesday, it's just the last Tuesday of the month. I would ask, are these 2 o'clock meetings right now, since they're virtual, are 2 o'clock meetings still working okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, in that case, we won't make any changes. We'll keep going. So anyway, we'll try to come up with, if you have any things that you would like us to discuss in our next meeting, think about, especially those of you who have a little more experience in within organizations, like you have things that you would like to discuss, put those out there, and we'll put together an agenda for the next meeting before that happens. Anything else that anybody has? Any other questions for the time? Anything else they need to bring up? Okay.
Good.
Well, I guess we got everything done. Thank you very much. Meeting's adjourned. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.